And welcome to the Tiny Human Knits podcast. My name is Laura and I'm coming to you from Fredericton, New Brunswick, Canada, where I live with my boyfriend, our dog, our cat, and our rabbit. You can find me online as Tiny Human Knits on Instagram, Ravelry, Etsy, and YouTube. And you can find links to everything I talk about below in the description box, including just all the patterns, the yarn, if it's yarn that I didn't dye myself, all links to my social medias. And if you are interested, I am definitely most active on Instagram. Not that I'm particularly active, usually in my stories, I think, more than anything. But I think that's kind of common nowadays. Instagram is just... Anyway, that's a weird way to start a podcast. I'm not currently wearing anything knitted because it is quite warm outside and I'm trying to keep my house cool. And me heating up like that is not going to help. I have had to turn my fans off for this, so I'm going to try to keep myself really calm, really collected. It's going to be great. It's hot outside. Anyways, so I'm not wearing anything knitted. And yeah. I only have one finished object today. One knitted finished object today. And I've got one sewn one, which I will also show you. And they're both hats, actually, because, you know, nope, that's it. Sorry, I haven't talked to anyone yet today. So my first finished object is the Oslo hat mohair edition again, although this time I didn't use mohair, I used Surrey alpaca silk, and it is my sixth one, and it is the one I was working on last time, so it's this one right here. This is in my own hand-dyed yarn, so it's one strand of 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon fingering weight, held together with a Surrey alpaca silk, and I dyed them the same color. And it is wonderfully soft, but I think the thing that I didn't take into account, because apparently I do have a larger than average head, I didn't take into account that the Surrey alpaca silk is a little thicker than mohair would be, so it has made a slightly more dense fabric, and I might be a little picky on the hat fitting scale as well. I don't really like a tight fitting hat, and this one might be like a little too tight for me, but like it fits perfectly fine, but I'm, you know, picky. So it might just, it's just a little tight around the crown. Even though, like, I can stretch it pretty good. But I like a loose fitting hat, apparently. So this one, although it is lovely and soft and it's going to be so warm, may end up being gifted. Just like all other 5 that I've made so far. Which, you know what? That's fine. I can gift a bunch of hats. It's cool. They're well received generally, and also I really enjoy knitting this pattern. I still do. I haven't cast on another one though because I am currently knitting on a bunch of pairs of sock samples, so I don't need any travel or, you know, walking knitting at the moment. But I'm sure as soon as I get over that sort of thing of all the socks, I'll have space in my knitting time for another Oslo hat. But yeah, as it stands right now, this one might be gifted. But that's okay. I just need to find someone who likes this color. I did knit the large size on 3mm needles, and I think if I do use the Surrey silk alpaca again, I'll probably do the same thing that I have done for my boyfriend's hats, where I knit it on a 3.5 instead. Because honestly, the way that his hats fit me is kind of how I want them to fit. He likes them a little tighter, I like them a little looser, so I think the same size that I used for him will work really well. Oh, pardon me. So that's, I think, what I'm going to do next time. But yeah, I've got some new colorways that I would really like to sample in the Oslo hat as well, so that might be first. So that is my first finished object. My second one, which is also a hat, is a sewn finished object, and it is this beautiful, what I would consider a gardening hat, and it is lovely. It makes me think of Sweet Sparrow yarns. It makes me picture her in her garden or inside. I don't know. It makes me think of her because this fabric just makes me think of her. But this is a fully reversible. My boyfriend calls it a Tilly hat. I don't know what it would be exactly, but it is a pattern by Angel Leah Designs on Etsy. Again, I will link it down below. I got both of these fabrics from fabric.com. This sort of orangey brown color is a linen blend, which I absolutely adore. And then this is a quilting cotton, and I love it. They were out of stock on this one the last time I checked, but I think it's supposed to be restocked this month sometime. So I'm gonna buy more of that, I think, when it comes back in stock, just because it is so beautiful. So yeah, fully reversible. It is fiddly. I will not say it isn't, but it's quite easy, and it's also just very satisfying. I made myself the large size, and I picked this because, so I made one first, so technically I would have two of these finished. I made one for my boyfriend because it's this exact style of hat that he was looking for but was having troubles finding. I made him the extra large because he's got a big head, but that one ended up being just a touch too big for him, so I've got another one in a large, or extra large. No, I made him the extra large. So I have another one cut out for him in the extra large that I just need to put together. It's all ready to go. But for his last one, I'm added eyelets to each side and then strung some thin cording through, and then I got some of those little the things that you press and then you can type. I don't know, but I got those. I'm thinking of adding this to this, but I'm not entirely sure. But I love it. I love it so much. I needed a hat really bad because I'm you know, going out into the sun right on your face, it's not good for you. But yeah, I really like it. I like it a lot. So that is my second finished object. It's really fun. I'm planning on making more of these because that's how I sort of cycle through things. I get obsessed with something, make a bunch, and then move on to the next thing. But what I do have is a plethora of works in progress. Because after my last episode went up, I followed my heart and I cast on 3 sweaters. I did not finish my Pavement by Vera Valimaki. I actually have only put 2 rows into that. But what I did do is I cast on a bunch of new things because they made my heart happy. And if I needed proof that just following your heart when it comes to your knitting makes you knit more, this would be it. My first one is in a project bag that I made myself last year, because I do that all the time. I am planning on putting more project bags into the shop soon. Just a bunch of different kinds. Patchwork ones, sweater size, just a bunch. But my first work in progress that I started after my last episode is the Marseille sweater by Petite Knit. I made the child version for my, I'm just gonna call her my niece, for my niece Mira, and I'm really excited for the fall when she can wear it because it's going to look so cute on her. But I made that and it was so cute that I wanted one for myself, so I cast one for myself. And this is how far I got. So I'd say that's pretty good going. I am knitting actually the smallest size because I didn't want it to be massively huge. I am planning, depending on how this one turns out, I have planned another one already, and I might make that a bigger size, but I'm not entirely sure. We'll have to see how this one fits. But I finished the double folded collar, and I really love this construction too, with the sort of grown on, you provisional cast on, you pick up stitches for either side. Not that I mind, like if I were to knit this bottom up, I think I'd like it just as much, just because I do like a 3 needle bind off on the shoulder. But yeah, I'm just working on the first sleeve. It's going to be gigantic. Love it. I love it because that's the whole point of it. It's designed to be big. But I'm using my own hand-dyed yarn in my Tweed DK base in the Dusty Plum. And then I decided, so originally I think I showed this before, the colorways that I was going to use. It was going to be Dusty Plum and then actually this one right here. And I was calling it my varsity sweater. But I got to the first stripe when I was knitting this, added this in, and I didn't like it. I thought it might be okay, but I just didn't. I didn't like it. So I ripped that out and I added in the pale mushroom, and I think it looks fantastic. I'm so happy with it. I'm so excited for this to be done because even though it's a DK weight, the tweed and like just the merino of it is so soft and it's drapey and I love it so much. And I'm using 4mm needles for this, as well as my pavement and one other project that I'm going to show you in a bit. So I just keep having to change like my needle tips from one project to another depending on which one I'm working on. Cause yeah, I couldn't resist. I could have had this done as well, but I cast on 2 other things, so I'll show you those now. Like I could have had this done easily, so easily. But it just knits up so quick because with stripes, especially for me in something like this, it's just you want to get to the next one. You know how many rows you need to do before you get to another stripe. So you just do that many and you carry on. It's fantastic. Speaking of Tweed DK though, I also decided to cast on the Gartrell Crew. And this is a pattern by Tanis Lavely. I'll put up a picture right here. I have the pattern printed out, but it's in black and white, which completely defeats the purpose of having a pattern, showing a pattern. I started this, I think last week sometime, because I needed something easily done. Actually, was there a reason? I don't know if there was. I was going to the new local coffee shop, and I think I just wanted to bring something with me. So I brought the first skein. Anyway, long story long, I cast on the Gartrell Crew. It's very on, like, it's on too small of a cord, but I stole the cord that was in here for another project. Which is so unlike me. I'm usually a 1, maybe 2 pattern person at a time. I have 5 sweaters on my needles right now, and it's not bothering me at all. And I love that. I love that a lot. So I am on my 6th color that is going to be in this. I am doing the same amount of rows as Tanis had in her own pattern, in her own sample. I'm doing 13 rows of each color. The pattern is supposed to be knit back and forth and then seamed, but I just decided to do it in the round. There's no real reason for that, it's just easier for me. So I cast on the amount of stitches that I'd need for the front and the back, and then when I get to the right point for the underarm, I will start doing the decreases for the front and the back, and then it's a crew, it's like a raglan crew neck thing. So I will just seam it up when I finish the sleeves and then add the color. And I think it's going to be fantastic. I'm really liking how these colorways are showing up, or like how they're playing with each other, and I'm really excited for some of the new ones that are going to be coming into here soon. I think I decided there was going to be 2 more rows before I start doing the decreases, but I'll have to see how long I want it. But yeah, 4mm needles, Tweed DK, all yarns that I dyed myself. And I'm pulling stitches off my needles. And I'm really enjoying it. It's just stockinette in the round at this point with changing color every 13 rows, which is making it go quite quickly. I didn't work on this. I haven't actually worked on this that much, so I've got quite a bit done, and honestly, once I finish my other 2 sweaters, this is going to fly by as well. I've got a system of when I want to have these all finished. So my third and final active work in progress besides socks is I cast on the single malt sweater by Maxim Sear, Max the Knitter. I had the plan for this sweater last year, I believe. Something like that. I think pretty much when it came out, I ordered this yarn. I love this yarn. I'm knitting it out of Darurum Natura Gilead in the maple colorway. This is 100% wool. Delicious. Ugh, I love this. I love this company. Their yarn is so great. It's very light. If I could ever remember the difference between worsted spun and woolen spun, it's the same spun style as the Brooklyn Tweed, Shetland, Brooklyn Tweed, yeah, no, Shelter, there we go. The Brooklyn Tweed Shelter and Loft and all of that. It's the same style of spinning as that, but I can never, for some reason, get them straight in my head. But it's the same style as that, so it's really lofty and it's just super lightweight and really warm. And my boyfriend has two? He has the unbearable sweater and a cardigan, I think, in this yarn. And he really likes them. He really likes how light they are. Anyway, so I have been wanting to knit this pattern for a good while, and I'm knitting it for him for a Christmas gift, so I'm getting a real good head start on that. And so he wasn't home last week. He was away for work, and he's also away for work this week and then into next week. So I should be able to finish this by the time he gets home again, because I don't want him to know I'm making it at all. Not even a tidbit. So this has been my project, my secret project. I've had a couple times where he's come home without me realizing he was going to be coming home, and I have that, like, he comes in the door and you wouldn't be able to see me on the couch from the front door, but I have this like panic feeling of just like complete, and I grab it and I shove it into a bag, and he's kind of a dunce anyway, so you wouldn't notice. It's fine, it's fine. Anyway, this is what I have so far. I finished the raglan, and I'm actually about 7 inches into the body, and I think I have another 7-ish inches to go before I start doing the ribbing at the bottom. And I'm really enjoying it quite a bit. I thought that this texture would feel like it was a slog, and I'm really, really enjoying it. I was also using this as my Stranger Things knitting, because I had only watched the first 2 seasons up until recently. I had never gotten around to watching the 3rd season, and now that the 4th season is out, and I knit so quickly when I'm watching something that I'm really interested in. So this has just flown by. And now that I'm finished watching Stranger Things, I started watching the latest season of The Umbrella Academy, so that's what this knitting is going to be saved for. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I'm knitting it on 5mm needles, same as what's recommended in the pattern. And I'm just really enjoying it. I love the raglan details. I think it's going to be so nice. And yeah, it's really easy to read your knitting with this. Like, I don't need to look at the pattern anymore or keep track of anything. I just look at my row before and I can tell what I'm supposed to be doing. And it's just really, really enjoyable. I think it's gonna be so nice, and I'm gonna really look forward to stealing it. I think. I'm starting to do a bunch of Christmas, sort of a couple Christmas purchases and a couple of Christmas knit stuff, you know, Christmas in July. I just want to get it done soon so it's not that big of a thing when it actually comes to the holiday season. I don't actually really celebrate Christmas, as it were, but because I was raised with it, it's kind of my default holiday, you know, midwinter holiday thing. But yeah. So all of my other works in progress are sock samples for new colorways that I've been developing over the last few weeks. If you follow me on Instagram, you may have seen I was supposed to have my update, my shop update, for the complete Lord of the Rings collection sets last Friday, actually. It was supposed to be the 8th of July. 8th of July? I can't believe we're almost mid-July. What's going on? I was supposed to have my update, but I had to start using a new batch of a dye. I use a mixture of Jacquard dyes and Dharma dyes, and they both have their uses and their pros and cons. But yeah, so I had to start using a new batch of a brown, and this is a color that is in... So when I dye, I don't use colors straight out of the container. I always try to mix my colors together because I think it gives it more depth and a more even sort of dye. Everyone's different. This is poorly explained. This color is in a lot of my other colorways, and this new batch that I got is hideous. It is absolutely not the same color. I hate it so much. So I dyed a few skeins of the Shortcut to Mushrooms, I think the week before last, and there's one stripe in there especially. There's a couple stripes that don't look great, but one especially that has a lot of this brown in it, and it is completely wrong in a way that I can't just sell it even as a second. It's so bad. Anyway, I had to postpone the update because I ordered some more of this brown dye from a couple different companies that have it, because I'm hoping that this is just a bad batch and I can get, you know, the right color from somewhere else. So I'm waiting on that. I'm supposed to actually get one of them today, hopefully. So because of that, I've been trying to dye a bunch of colors that don't have that color in it. And I mean, this can happen with dyes no matter what you're using, but it's also a really good opportunity for me to make new colorways because I've been meaning to do it for a while. So I wanted to make some new fall and Halloween colorways because I haven't had much of those in the past because I always get so busy with other things and whatever. It's good to be prepared. So the 3 socks that I have on my needles right now that I have started, I have got some other colorways that I still have to sample because I have to hand in all my samples. I have a sock knitting machine from Dean and Bean coming to me probably at the end of August, early September. So when I get that, my time is going to be saved so nicely because I won't have to hand knit every sample of every sock colorway to see if it's right. Because the thing about self-striping, for me anyway, is that it can look a certain way. I do the jar method, the mason jar method. It can look great in that arrangement, and then it can look great when you wind it up into a skein. But for me, I'll never know if it's 100% what I'm looking for until I knit up a sample, because sometimes the colors can look great together, but they could be in the wrong order. It makes a big difference. Or they can look funny in a skein, but once it's knit up, it actually is pretty cohesive. We're so rambly. Anyway, so I have to hand knit a sample, and a lot of times I have a whole pile of ones that only get up to the cuff and a little past because I know it's wrong. But it's also a good way to find out what exactly is wrong about it so I can fix it later. Or it'll show me this color would look great, this other color from a different sock, whatever. So I always knit a sample in almost everything, unless I look at it and know it's bad. Happens a lot, you'd be surprised. Anyway, I'm picky, whatever. So the 3 that I'm working on right now, I'm going to give you a little sneak peek of some new colorways. I also have some other colorways that I dyed early this year that I'm going to be releasing soon, and maybe I'll show those next time. I think I will. Anyway, the first colorway is folk art. Folk art. Next one is called Dusk. This is an example of it looks weird. It looked weird in the jars, and then it looked weird as a skein, but then I'm like, but maybe, and then I knit it up, and I actually really, really like it. And then the last one that I have on my needles, again, there's plenty more that I need to knit samples of, is Boil and Bubble. and I really like this one. I was on the phone with my sister when I dyed this one, so it's a special place in my heart. And I really like this one. Actually, really like all of them. They're different. So yeah, I've got, I think, 4 more that I need to put to start. And again, like, I would say my success rate for dyeing like the first round is probably about 20%. Because I'm really picky. It has to be something that I like without a doubt. If there's a doubt in my, like, the colorways, I have to re-dye it. Because if I don't like it, I won't want to dye it. So those are the socks that I'm working on. I knit all of my sock samples on a 2.25 millimeter Addy not interchangeable, fixed circular. And I actually shouldn't, I'm normally cast on 56 stitches because I've got quite small feet, so it's pretty easy for me. But yeah, that is all my works in progress, all 10,000 of them. That's not even all of them, it's just the ones that I've been working on. But so I actually got to knit on some of these sock samples over the weekend. My boyfriend and I went to Moncton, which is about an hour and a half away from Fredericton, and we went to a huge car show that was happening in a place called Centennial Park. It's this huge, beautiful park, and there were thousands of cars, old cars, parked there. There was like mostly Mustangs and like, what's the other word? Starts with a C. I don't even know. So my boyfriend is big into old cars. He's restoring a Buick of some sort. He has told me so many times what kind it is, what year it is, but in one ear, out the other. I can't retain this information. It has nothing to do with me. Anyway, he loves old cars. He sort of like soft mentioned this event that was happening. He's like, oh yeah, it's something going on over here. And, you know, he didn't want to ask if we could go. And I'm like, do you want to go? Yes. So we brought the dog, we drove over there, and we were there for about 5 hours. The weather was absolutely perfect. It was about 23 degrees, sunny, but it was in a park, so lots of tree coverage, not too hot. It was beautiful. It was such a good time. But after we were done that, I got to go to a few of the craft stores that are around Moncton, and I stopped first at a absolutely gorgeous fabric shop. It was super tiny, but it was run by this one lady. She owned and ran it. She said it was mostly online, but it was just delightfully gorgeous. If I could remember what it was called. I don't think I'm going to. I bought some fabric from there purely because of how cute it was and how different it was. So the East Coast kind of only has Fabricland / Fabricville. It's Fabricland in the West Coast and Fabricville in the East Coast. And which is great, but it doesn't really give the same variety of prints and types of fabric. Anyway, this is a ramble. I bought some fabric and some buttons and some labels that were there, and I will be showing you those at a future date when I have used them, which probably won't be long, I hope. But then there is this building in Moncton where one half of it is a cross stitch shop and the other half is a yarn shop, and I bought something from both. The cross stitch shop, I bought some Aida and a needle minder and stuff, which again I will probably end up showing you at one point. But the yarn shop was so the yarn shop that was in the building was originally called Cricket Cove, and if you're from the East Coast, I'm sure you're familiar. There are a couple different locations of Cricket Cove around the East Coast, and they're all owned by the same person. But this one particularly was going to close at the end of May. And so the woman who owns it now purchased it from the previous owner, and it is now called 3 Bags Full. And the owner's name is Kathy McDonald, and she is an absolute delight. I enjoyed myself so much in this visit. I was the only one in there at the time, but her and the lady that she was working with were both delightful. It was so nice, and I don't know how long I spent in there. A good long while. My boyfriend was in the car with the dog and falling asleep. But I had such a good visit. It was so nice. I hadn't really planned on buying any yarn particularly, but they were both so delightful and just wonderfully suggestive. But so I ended up buying some yarn, and I know I don't normally show my acquisitions on here just because I think I always forget what I bought, and I'm trying not to buy too much yarn. But I did buy 5 skeins. I've got 2 skeins here. I bought 5 skeins of this yarn, which is Cascade Yarns Eco and Hemp. So it's an 80% superwash, not superwash, nope. 80% Peruvian Highland wool and 20% hemp. And it is deliciously squishy and soft, and I'm very excited to use it. And the colorway is 01. And the main reason I got this is because she had it for sale for $10 a skein, which, you know, you don't need yarn, but if it's that good of a price, how can you say no? And it's a DK weight, so 5 skeins should be plenty for me to make something. So yeah, the whole shop was just delightful. And again, the ladies there were, I could have spent a good long time if I hadn't been, you know, taking up, it was so nice. And I suppose since I showed that acquisition, I might as well show another one. This one is completely the fault of Catherine from Heather and Hops. She showed this book. So I have shown before that I am knitting the owl, Louis the Owl, from the Knitted Animal Friends by Louise Crowther. And I haven't even finished that one, but Kat showed this book and I didn't realize it was out. Knitted Wild Animal Friends. So I got this too. Did I need it? Absolutely not. But it's so cute. And the zebra she was making, oh, so adorable. And honestly, I think half the reason I got this is the extra clothes. Because they're all the same size. So the clothes in here will fit the clothes that, or fit the animals in the other book that I already have. And it's so cute. I didn't even realize this was going to be published. Like, come on. So I just really need to finish the other one. And then all of the other ones I want to make anyway. Doesn't matter. In case you wanted to knit some beautiful... It doesn't even have to be for kids. I honestly, when I think of, like, oh, my friends with babies, I want to make these for the parents. You know, for the first few years when the baby can't play with it. And one last thing I want to show before I leave you guys. It's not fiber related at all, actually. So about 2 weeks ago, I think, my boyfriend and I were in downtown Fredericton, kind of just goofing off, I think. And we saw a sign for an art show that was happening in the park down there. And there was a couple stands with different artists that were showcasing and selling their pieces, and I saw this there and I absolutely had to have it because it is right up my alley. This is a style of art that I absolutely love. So the artist's name is Brittany Schuler. This is her lovely card. And then this is her information. She had some bigger pieces of art too that I really, really wanted. This will not be my last one from her. And this is what I got. And I absolutely adore it. This style of art is just my favorite. And I didn't put it up in my office yet because I wanted to show you guys, just because, you know, I don't know how many of you guys are the type that really like paintings as well. I have no idea. I find a lot of crafty people are crafty in many areas, so it's one of those things I thought maybe you'd appreciate. But yeah, that is my many things. It's been a good few weeks, actually. I'm trying to sort of pep myself up and keep myself at a level of contentment, I suppose, if not happiness, that, you know, I'm trying to maintain this. It's difficult. This is very vague. Anyways, so I hope you all have a wonderful week, and I'm really hoping that the next time I see you, I will have a lot of nice finished garments that I can show you. And I am probably going to go cast on 3 more pairs of socks, because it's just what I do. So yeah, I hope you all have a wonderful time, and I will see you next time. Thanks so much for watching. Bye!